For this session, we're going to be talking about cleanliness. Cleanliness. There's so much to talk about when you have to talk about being clean. Cleanliness is the state or quality of being clean or being kept clean. Now, this is very important to our health, to our mind, to our environment. We need to understand how to use this in conversations to communicate with other people if need be. No one likes to sit around dirt. No one likes to stay in an untidy place. Other words we can use when we're talking about cleanliness, we can talk about hygiene, tidiness, neatness, sanitation. These are words that have similar meaning to our topic for today. Are you someone that is very particular about where you like to stay? You don't like to stay in an unkept place. You always like to be in a neat place. And how do you convey that message? How do you tell other people that? We're going to have a lot of discussion and we're going to learn so many words that will help us talk about being clean. All right, let's get started. The first word we want to look at is disinfectant. This is added to the word infectant to change the meaning. Infectant, infected. Now you want to disinfect it. You want to take away something that wants to infect a place. A disinfectant is a chemical liquid that destroys bacteria. It doesn't just keep the place clean. It destroys bacteria. Now that's the plural form for bacterium. When we're talking about just one, we say bacterium. When we have more than one, we say bacteria. It keeps a place safe from germs, from viruses, and other microorganisms that the human eyes cannot see. Do you have disinfectants in your house? Do you think that using a disinfectant to clean a place, to clean things, to clean your belongings is important? Yes, you do, or no, you don't. So when someone said, I disinfected the place, that means the person used a disinfectant to ensure that the bacteria there will die. The bacteria there will be killed. So it's safe from bacteria. There are so many disinfectants in the market. So many brands. You might have the ones you use. It has its own name. So when you go to the market and say you need a disinfectant, you can see so many brands of it. But the general name for that chemical is disinfectant. Now, how do we use the word disinfectant in a sentence? They produced a whole range from washing up liquid, toilet cleaner, polish, washing powder to disinfectant. So we're probably talking about a company or a factory that produces toiletries, that produces things that are used for cleaning up a place. Now, they have included some extra things into their products. That's what this sentence is trying to say. Now, they don't just only produce cleaner, polish, washing powder, and other things. They now also produce disinfectants. So you should think of patronizing them. You should think of buying from them. Another sentence is clean and disinfect the toilet. Toilet flush taps and door handles regularly with disinfectant. In this sentence, you can see that we have the word disinfect. In that context, it's used as a verb. It's telling you to use. Disinfect means to use a disinfectant. So there's so many places we need to disinfect, especially places that are being used by the public, places that different people would certainly use, like the door handle, the handle of a door, especially in the toilets, because you know that that is where a lot of excretion happens. People defecate, and if it's not properly managed, it could cause health hazards. It could be detrimental to your health. It could cause poor, it could affect your health in a bad way. So disinfectants are very important when we talk about cleanliness. All right? Would you start using disinfectants to clean your house? Would you tell people around you to use disinfectants when they clean their homes? Next is the sterilizer. A sterilizer is a machine for making things completely clean and free from bacteria. That is what a sterilizer is. Now, sterilize can also be used as a verb. That is when, of course, we've taken away the ER, sterilizer. If we take away the ER, it now means to clean something, to sterilize. I had to sterilize the clipper. I had to sterilize the blades. So this particular machine helps to destroy not just the bacteria, the microorganisms. And how does it do this? It will steam the apparatus. It will steam the things you put inside it. Or it will heat it up. So much so that the heat will be too much for the bacteria to continue existing. Sterilizer could also mean a person whose work involves sterilizing something. So if you say she is a sterilizer, then you're not totally wrong. So do you work in a place that things are sterilized regularly? Have you ever seen a sterilizing machine before? Do you know what it looks like? When you go to a public place and you need the services, probably of a hairdresser, a barber. A barber is a person that cuts people's hair. You go to the hospital where so many things are being shared by different patients. Are you very careful? Do you always remember to ask the nurse, do you mind sterilizing that? Excuse me, Baba, do you mind sterilizing the blades? Do you mind sterilizing your pairs of scissors before you use them on me? These are questions that we should ask when we go out to use things that we know that it's not meant for just us. Things that we know that are used by total strangers, people we do not know. And sometimes, in order to be in the safe side, people would rather buy their own things and take it to these service providers so that instead of sterilizing and using something that someone else has used, you use your own private thing. All right? So sterilizer is a machine that sterilizes things, or it could also be a person that makes sure that things are being sterilized. Examples of how to use the word sterilizer. Now, being that sterilizer is a name of a person or a name of a machine, sterilizer is a noun. It's a naming word. I think it's better to buy a steam sterilizer. Now, this is a suggestion. Someone is suggesting. I think it's better. Why don't we buy this steam sterilizer instead of the other sterilizer you had in mind? This sterilizer is of simple structure, easy to install, manage, and it's also safeguarding. All right? In this sentence, a sterilizer is being described. The way you use it, the way it can be managed is being explained in this sentence. All right? It's install means the way you can get it ready to be used. So when you buy something, you get it out of the pack and you try to put the parts together. You're installing it and you're getting it ready for you to use it. After that, you try to manage it and safeguard it so that it will last longer. So that is what the sterilizer needs in order to be used very well. Our next word is purity. Purity means free from adulteration or contamination. When something is pure, that means there are no impurities. It hasn't been contaminated. Nothing is in it. It is extremely clean. That is what we mean when we say purity. All right. For example, when you say the purity of our drinking water is very important to me, that means you want to consistently ensure that the water is pure. So the state of being pure is purity. You want to be sure that the water is completely pure so as to not fall sick because of something that has gotten into your body from the water. How can we use the word purity to make sentences? The purity of the water is tested regularly. In factories where bottled waters or waters that have, water doesn't have a plural. So you say bottled water. Water is an uncountable noun. You cannot count water. You can say one water, two waters, three waters. No. So you count it by saying one bottle of water, two bottles of water, three bottles of water. So in a company where bottled water that has been packaged is being produced, the purity of the water is one of their responsibility, is one of their obligations. They need to ensure that the water is completely pure so that their customers would be satisfied, their customers wouldn't call them out or complain. Now we know that water is a tasteless, odorless, and colorless substance. If a person have you ever drank water that had taste? That means that water was not pure. Have you ever seen water that has color? Sometimes in storybooks, we color the water blue. But in real life, water, especially that one that we consume, shouldn't have color. All right? Have you sniffed a bottle of water and you got a stench? You perceived something? Then that water is not pure. So this sentence is trying to say that they're very particular about the purity. They don't want their water not to be pure. So they test it, they check it, always, often. The next sentence. They were worried about the purity of the tap water. All right? They were concerned about it. I'm not sure this water is pure. Maybe when they turned on the tap, while the water was running, some other particles dropped out of it, which made them uncomfortable. That is why this person said, or these people said, they were worried about the purity of the tap water. All right? We can also talk about purity in other things, not just water. In other things, in your food, you don't want your food to be contaminated. In fruits, you want fruits that are okay for you to consume. You don't want it to be contaminated, so you are concerned about the cleanliness of the fruit, of the food, of the things you put into your body. So we also said that the state of being pure is another definition for purity. Okay, I am worried about the purity. I need my things, my water to be very pure. Next word is vacuum cleaner. Now, a vacuum cleaner is a noun. It's a naming word for something that is used to clean an apartment, something that is used to clean a building, something that's used to clean a house. A vacuum cleaner is an electrical. Now, that means you have to plug it to electricity. That's how it's being powered. It needs an electrical energy. It's an electrical apparatus that by means of suction, that means the way it works is that it sucks up things. Okay? We know the part that it has an opening in the vacuum cleaner where we place directly on top of the dirt. So it takes it up with this force that we call suction. Okay, that by means of suction collects dust and small particles from floors and other surfaces. So we don't only use vacuum cleaners for floors. We can use it for other surfaces, maybe tabletop. Some people have this type of vacuum cleaner they use for their sofa, the couch in the living room. All right? Do you have a vacuum cleaner in your house? Yes, I do, or no, I don't. Do you like using vacuum cleaners to clean your house? Or do you prefer to use a broom and a packer, a dustpan? We can also call a vacuum cleaner vacuum sweeper. So if you say I have a vacuum sweeper, then yes, you are correct. If you say I have a vacuum cleaner, then you're still talking about the same thing. All right? Now, let's take a look at how to use the word vacuum cleaner to make sentences. Use the vacuum cleaner to suck up crumbs from the carpet. All right? Crumbs, the tiny bits that fall out from probably your bread when you're eating bread. If it's bread, you say breadcrumbs. If it's cookies, you say cookie crumbs. When we're trying to chew it, those tiny bits that fall from what we're eating, that's what we call crumbs. So this person is telling another person to use the vacuum cleaner to suck up those crumbs, to take away those crumbs from the carpet. If the vacuum cleaner is full of dust, it won't work properly. All right? So the vacuum cleaner has a side where the dust that is being collected is stored temporarily. That means it's stored for a short while before you go ahead to put it in the trash can. So if that area is full of dust, it wouldn't work properly because it doesn't have any other place to put this dust it sucks. Until that place is cleaned up, until that area is cleaned up, the dust in it is taken away, then the vacuum cleaner won't work properly. But when it's taken out, when the dust is taken out and that part is clean, then the vacuum cleaner will work very well because now it has enough space to put the new dust it collects. All right, so that is it for vacuum cleaner or vacuum sweeper. Anyone, they still mean the same thing. Next, we have polishing machine. A polishing machine. Now, this is also a noun. It's a name of a thing. All right? And what do we use the polishing machine for? A polishing machine is a machine which operates a rubbing surface for bringing to a polish the surfaces of materials or articles. It's a household appliance. It's one of the household appliances that is used to clean floors, carpets, and upholsteries. All right? It would clean it until it starts to shine. Have you seen a polishing machine before? Yes, I have. Or no, I haven't. If you have, where did you see it? We use it to also clean things that are made of stone, glass, wood. So unlike vacuum cleaner, this would keep rubbing that surface. It keeps rubbing it. The way we use a piece of cloth, a rag to wipe a surface to make sure it's sparkling clean. The polishing machine will keep rubbing a particular surface till it starts to shine. That is how the polishing machine works. You can call it buffer. That's another name for the polishing machine. It's also called a buffering machine. All right? Now, how can we use the word polishing machine to make a sentence? Anita has a polishing machine. Now, in this word, polishing machine, we have two words that make up this thing we're talking about. Polishing. And polishing is a noun. Polishing means to get an appearance of something, to get it enhanced. Okay, to get the appearance of something to look better. So, polishing machine is now that machine that is used to get the appearance of something to look better. So we can say he used the polishing machine to polish the surfaces. The surfaces of the metal artwork. All right? and that would still be correct. Polishing machines are used in grinding and polishing metal, ceramics, and plastics. So we can see these things called a polishing machine in a factory where cars are being made. So they use it to polish the surface of the car so it will shine, it will look better. The appearance will be appealing to the eyes. We could also see it in factories where plastics, plastic materials are made, or ceramic materials are made, and even other metal things. We see the polishing machine there. It's also something that's used to clean. It's used to clean an object. It's used to clean things in order to give it a better look. The next word is hygiene. Hygiene. Now, hygiene means conditions or practices conducive to maintaining health and preventing disease, especially through cleanliness. All right? So, those things a person does in order to maintain health, in order to be healthy, in order to be safe from illness, sickness, those things that person does in such a way that is regarding to being clean, in such a way that has to do with staying clean at all times. Now that is what we call hygiene. So it could be a practice, it could be a condition, it could be an action. All right? We could all refer to that as hygiene. Now we could say a person is a hygienic person. That means the person is always conscious of his or her environment, the neatness of his or her environment. The neatness, when we talk about food hygiene, that means the person is conscious of the neatness of what he or she puts into her mouth. We have personal hygiene. That is the things, the practices a person should do for the person's self. It's something that's personal. It could be the toilet hygiene. Washing your hands after using a toilet. That is regarded as hygiene. It's a practice. It's something you do to ensure that you're clean, to ensure that you do not harm your own self by letting germs get into your body. Shower hygiene. How many times do you shower in a day? One time? You can say once a day, 2 times. That is twice a day. Nail hygiene. All right? So always cut your nails so that germs, dirt doesn't get stuck under the nail. And when you put something in your mouth, the germ gets into your mouth from your nails. Teeth hygiene. To always brush your teeth so that it doesn't smell, so that it doesn't harbor germs. By harbor, I mean so it doesn't store, it doesn't leave germs in it. So how many times do you brush your teeth in a day? Do you brush your teeth once a day? Do you brush your teeth twice a day? So these are the several categories of building good hygiene habits, good hygiene practices. Examples of how to use the word hygiene in making a sentence. Brushing your teeth regularly is an important part of good dental hygiene. So anything dental has to do with the mouth. Okay? A dentist is a doctor for the teeth. Dental hygiene is the hygiene, that's the practices that helps you keep your mouth, to keep your teeth clean. He has very poor personal hygiene. That means those things that he should do for himself to keep his body clean, to keep his environment clean, in order to stay healthy, he doesn't do them. Maybe he doesn't like to shower. He doesn't like to wash his clothes. He wears them dirty. Alright, he doesn't like to brush his teeth. He doesn't change his toothbrush after using it for a very long time. That is another dental hygiene. Okay, dentists have advised people to always change their toothbrush after it's been used for a very long time. So that's what this sentence is trying to say. He has very poor personal hygiene. Do you have very poor personal hygiene? Yes, I do, or no, I don't. What do you do to ensure that you have a good hygiene? Okay, do you regularly do these practices that keeps you and your environment clean? Or do you wait for someone to tell you to do them? Alright? The next word is sponge. Sponge is a piece of soft, light, porous, absorbent substance made of synthetic material used for washing and cleaning. Now, when we say porous, what we mean is that it can take in. When something is absorbent, it means it can absorb, it can take in, for instance, water or the liquid that is around it. So if you put probably your soap is liquid soap, put it on your sponge can hold it in it while you rub it on your body or while you use it to wash the dishes. That's if you wash your dishes with your hands. Maybe you don't have a dishwasher. You can also use a sponge. Now that's when we're talking about sponge as a noun, being that it's a name of a piece of cloth or a piece of material that is used to clean dirty things, maybe a dirty body, a dirty dish, or other things you might want to use a sponge to clean. Now, we can also use sponge as a verb. You can use it as an action word, which means to wipe or clean with a wet sponge or cloth. Sponging. I am cleaning it with a sponge. Sponged. I cleaned it yesterday. I sponged it yesterday. Alright? That is what we mean by sponge. So do you use the sponge to wash your dishes? Do you use the sponge to bathe when you're having your bath. Some people say they don't like to use sponges, that it makes their body itchy when they're done with their bath. Does that happen to you? Some people say when they haven't used a sponge to take a bath, it feels like they haven't even showered. Now, phrases that contain sponge. We have sponge bath. A sponge bath is a bath in which someone or something is not placed in water, but is cleaned with a wet, soapy sponge or cloth. So you don't put it in water, you just put the sponge in water and then you use it to clean the person or the thing. Then that is what we mean by sponge bath. We also have a phrase that says, throw in the sponge. Throw in the sponge. And what does throw in the sponge means? It means to abandon a struggle. Now it's not what we're looking at today, but we just want to take a look at that because it has the word sponge in it. So to throw in a sponge means to give up, to abandon something. Oh, I'm tired of this competition. I think I might just throw in the sponge. Okay, so that's how you can use that phrase. Some people also say throw in the towel. That's another way to say it. Now, how do we use the word sponge to make sentences? He wiped off the table with a sponge. In that sentence, the word sponge is used as a noun. This sponge doesn't soak up water very well. Now we know that this is one of the things that a sponge should be able to do because we've said it's a porous and absorbent material. Okay, so now this person is complaining, well, this is sponge, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. It doesn't soak up water as it's supposed to. In these two sentences, the word sponge is used as a noun. Okay, so if we want to use the word sponge as a verb, we can say she sponged up the milk, the spilled milk. So let's say you spill the milk on the floor and you want to clean it up with a wet cloth. You can say, I sponged it up. He sponged off his face. I mean, he just used the sponge to wipe off his face, to clean his face. She sponged the dirt off her shirt. Alright? She wiped the dirt, or she sponged. If you don't want to use wiped, another word is sponged. Okay, so that is what we mean by sponge when we talk about it as a noun, or sponging when we talk about it as a verb. The next word is toothbrush. Now, toothbrush is a compound word because we have two words that come together to make up another word. The two words are tooth. That is a singular form for teeth. Teeth. The thing we have in our mouth that helps us chew on food and other things we put in our mouth. While brush is an object that has bristles, okay, that we can use to clean things. But in this contest, we're looking at a toothbrush. Now that is a small brush with long handle used for cleaning the teeth. The teeth. Alright, that is what we call a toothbrush. A toothbrush is very important when we talk about the dental hygiene. A toothbrush is a noun because it's the name of a thing Okay? It's the name of a thing that is used to clean up the teeth, that is used to brush the teeth. Now, we can say that the toothbrush slipped out of his hand, clattering into the sink. So, this sentence is trying to say that this person, okay, because we have the pronoun his, we're definitely talking about a male figure. We're talking about a man or a boy. It certainly has to be male because we're using his. He was brushing his teeth, and all of a sudden, the toothbrush he was using slipped off his hand. That means it fell off. It fell off from his hand and it fell into the sink. Has that happened to you before? If that happens to you, what would you do? Would you pick up your toothbrush and continue brushing your teeth? Or would you abandon the toothbrush there? Now, if it's my personal bathroom, I will pick up my toothbrush. But most times, if it's a public bathroom, that means a bathroom that is used by other people, I might leave the toothbrush there, I think, because I might be too disgusted to pick it up. How about you? How would you feel if your toothbrush falls into a sink? An old toothbrush is the best thing to scrub the dirt off. Now, some people, when they're no longer using their toothbrush, when the toothbrush is old, they use it to clean other things in their houses. All right? They use it to get off dirt in small, or we can also say tiny holes. So that's what this sentence is trying to say. How a person uses an old toothbrush. So the word old there is an adjective that is explaining that this toothbrush is no longer being used. So that is how we know it's an abandoned toothbrush, because of the adjective old. Okay? How about you? What do you do with your old toothbrushes? Do you still use them? Or do you get rid of them completely? All right? Our next word is dustpan. Dustpan. A dustpan is a noun because it's a name of a thing. All right? A dustpan is a flat, handheld receptacle into which dust and waste can be swept from the floor. Now, when we say something is receptacle, it means that it's something that receives and contains something, like a container, for instance. So, anything that can receive or contain something, we say that that thing is receptacle. Now, a container is a receptacle thing. Also, a dustpan is also a receptacle thing. We use it to get the dust off the floor, and then we put it into dust bin, the rubbish bin, or you can also call it the waste bin. It helps you scoop up the dirt from the floor and put it into the trash can. And it's going to be in the trash can temporarily till you put it in the garbage bin, which is outside. And then the garbage truck can come and take it and then get rid of the dirt completely. So that is the use of a dust pan. Now, if you have a vacuum cleaner, if you use a vacuum cleaner instead, you might not necessarily have use for a dust pan, since the vacuum cleaner is already sucking up the dirt from the floor directly into the part of the vacuum cleaner that has. So do you use a dust pan in your home, or do you use just a vacuum cleaner? Now the dust pan works together with, alright, in order to use a dust pan, you will need to have a broom, a sweeper, something you can use to sweep off dirt from the floor. Now, how do we use the word dustpan to make a sentence? Benny went inside to get a dustpan and a broom. I dropped the dustpan and ran indoors. So it's something you can drop, it's something you can pick up. It's not necessarily so heavy, and neither is it it's light, it's not so heavy. So you can pick it up and you can easily let go of it. So in this context, the person dropped it and ran inside the house. That's what we mean by indoors. So that means the person was outside the house. Alright. The next is scrubbing brush. We've seen toothbrush. That's a type of brush. Now, scrubbing brush is another type of brush entirely. A brush is a thing that certainly has bristles. The toothbrush has bristles. The scrubbing brush has bristles. The hairbrush has bristles. Alright. Now, it depends on what you use that brush for. That's what determines the name, determines the type of brush that is. So a scrubbing brush is a brush with hard bristles, used especially for cleaning floors. That's what a scrubbing brush is mostly used for, to scrub off dirt from the floor. Alright, probably it's the bathroom floor, or the floor is made up of tiles. Or it could also be the rug or the carpet. You use your brush to scrub it so that you can get rid of all the dirt on it. Now, scrubbing brush. The word scrub is a verb. So that's why we can say scrubbing. So if you say, I use the scrubbing brush to scrub the floor, that is correct. Because scrub is something we can do. It's an action when you hold something and you push it against another thing. You're scrubbing it. Scrub the whole outer surface with a soft scrubbing brush to remove all mucus or blood from the external surface. So maybe this is an abattoir, a place where meat is being slaughtered. Let's say maybe cow is being slaughtered to get cow meat, or a goat is being slaughtered to get cow meat. Or maybe it's a stable and a horse has just given birth to a colt. A colt is a young male horse, or a pig has just given birth to piglets. And because of this, we have blood everywhere, we have mucus everywhere. All right. So we need to use something to get rid of that dirt. We don't want that there. This person has asked the other person to use a scrubbing brush to get rid of the mucus and blood or blood. All right. So maybe the person isn't sure of what's on the external surface. So he thinks maybe it's blood. He thinks maybe it's mucus. So he says, you know what? Just get the soft brush and get rid of this thing. It might be mucus, it might be blood, but just get rid of all of it. And that's what the scrubbing brush can do. The second sentence says, use a soft scrubbing brush to remove stains. Now we can have a soft scrubbing brush. We can also have a hard scrubbing brush. Okay, so hard or soft, it means how the bristles feel. The hair-like things on the brush, how does it feel? Is it soft? Is it hard? That is what determines if the brush is soft or hard. All right. So he used the soft scrubbing brush to scrub the walls. Correct. She used the hard scrubbing brush to scrub the walls. We can also say medium. That means it's not too soft, it's not too hard, it's in between. Okay? Tidy up. Now, tidy up is a phrasal verb because it contains a verb and then it has two words that don't make a full sentence. So that's why we call it a phrase. And this phrase has a verb, which is tidy. Tidy is a doing word. All right? So what does tidy up mean? Tidy up means to arrange something in a neat and ordered way. Tidy up your living room. Tidy up the kitchen. That means you want to arrange the things there. You want to arrange it in a neat and ordered way. You can also say an orderly manner. You want everything to look neat. Do you always enjoy tidying up places? Some people don't like to do that. Instead, they could get a janitor to do that for them. A janitor is a person that cleans houses or buildings for a living. So you can say, oh, I don't think I am in the mood to clean my apartment. I don't think I am in the mood to tidy up my apartment. So what do? You then go to get a janitor to do that for you. That is the role of a janitor. All right? Now, how do we use tidy up to make a sentence? Tidy up to make a sentence. We can say, stop farting about and help me tidy up. Stop playing around. Come on, please help me tidy up this house. It's so messy. I need to get things in order. I was going to tidy up the kitchen, but you've beaten me to it. Now, when someone says you've beaten me to it, that means they did it before you. You had the intentions of doing it, but the person has done it before you. So you can say, you beat me to it. All right. When last did you tidy up your apartment? All right. When was the last time you tidied up your apartment? Was it last month? Was it last weekend? Or does someone do it for you? Maybe a family member in the family helps you to tidy up. Yes or no? So we can say I tidied up or I am tidying up. We can change the form of the verb that is in this phrasal verb. I am tidying up. That means you're doing it at the moment. I tidied up. That means you did it last month or yesterday. You did it in the past. Okay? Because it has a verb in the phrase. That's why we can change the form. She tidied up her room last night. She is tidying up the kitchen. Can you let her be? Can you stop disturbing her? She's busy tidying up the kitchen. Please leave her alone. All right, it's practice time. Let's use the words we've learned. Pick the right one that suits these sentences and fill in the blanks with the correct words. Clean the carpet with a blank to remove any dirt. An electric blank makes cleaning my teeth much easier. Jenny packed the dirt on the floor with a broom and a. Let's blank and make the house a bit more presentable. Poor sanitation and blank caused many of the soldiers to get sick. All right, go through the words. Can go through the words one more time just to be sure and find out which one suits these sentences. All right, I wish you a good luck. If these were your answers, then well done. You did a great job. If you didn't get the answers right, feel free to go back and have another look. Clean the carpet with a vacuum cleaner to remove any dirt. An electric toothbrush makes cleaning my teeth much easier. Yes, we can have an electric toothbrush. All right? It uses battery. If you've seen one before, it's those toothbrushes that use batteries. So you can just put them, you don't have to move your hands. It's not manual. It's not done manually. So you can just leave them on your teeth and it will just keep brushing your teeth. Jenny packed the dirt on the floor with a broom and a dustpan. Remember what we said about the dustpan. And 4, let's tidy up and make the house a bit more presentable. Okay, so that when we have guests, we wouldn't feel too embarrassed about what our house looks like. Let's make it a bit more presentable. And finally, poor sanitation and hygiene caused many of the soldiers to get sick. Okay, so they had poor hygiene. They weren't doing the necessary things that could keep their body clean, that would keep their body healthy. So these are the right answers. All right, now we have more questions to discuss about. Okay, let's have more conversations. Why is cleanliness important? Why? What do you think is the reason? I think cleanliness is important because it can help us stay healthy. When your environment is clean, you certainly remain healthy. That's an assurance. But when it's unclean, then you're easily going to fall sick. All right? How about you? Why do you think it's important? What's your own opinion on this? Next, how often do you think one should clean? How often do you think one should clean up? Now, I think a person should clean up at least twice a day. One time in the morning and one time before the person goes to bed. Now, in some countries, because of the weather condition, people cannot clean up as much as they like because it's really cold. You might freeze. All right, is in this situation that it's okay for a person to clean maybe just once a day. That is still fair. What's your opinion? What's your take on that? What types of things should be cleaned? What types of things should be cleaned? The things in your home, should they be cleaned? Should it be only the things you use regularly? Or is it everything that should be cleaned? What's your answer? I think that everything should be cleaned once in a while, but most especially the things that we use for our body, all right, like our towel, our clothes, they should be cleaned. Our plates, those things should be cleaned regularly. How about you? What do you think? Right, well done. You did an amazing job in today's class. I would like to encourage you to keep using the words you learned in making sentences and having conversations so you don't forget them easily. All right? Now have a lovely day and goodbye.